the Geneva Learning Foundation. Today, it is my pleasure to facilitate on behalf of the foundation. Reda and Charlotte are in a very important meeting thanks to everything that you're doing in the movement. They're talking with the highest body of the IA 2030 work, and hopefully we will be able to have them if they finish their meeting early, so that we can hear a little bit about how it went and share some of the news with us in the movement. So I do want to start the assembly by wishing all of those of you who celebrate the upcoming holidays, festivals, wishing you a happy Easter if you're celebrating Easter. And to those of you who are celebrating Ramadan, or starting a month of fasting, happy Ramadan to you. We do get some messages from some of you, and I want to share some of those messages and share you how incredibly amazing this community is. So this scholar said, I was so busy in the polio round, so I could not complete the situation analysis properly. You are doing the work of the IA 2030 movement, so you do not have to apologize if you were not able to complete this situation analysis and will not be able to catch up very soon this week. Then you remain an active member of the movement, and you're always welcome to come back and join the rest of the peers in the movement. Also, this is a message that Charlotte received from Ismaila Ibrahim Ejego, who also, due to their work related to the polio outbreak response, were not able to connect and to do the work. Again, Ismaila, if you're in the room, we salute you. We know you're committed to the movement. You're committed to working to improve vaccination where you work, with the support of your peers from all over the world. So you're doing the work of IA 2030. I hope that you will remain active, and you're welcome to come back whenever you are able to. And this scholar had their father hospitalized, so all of our team's best wishes for a speedy recovery for your father. And we know you're committed, and you're asking for guidance on how to catch up and how to pick up with the deadline. For today's assembly, you will get everything you need in order to stay focused, stay on track on your one goal of the week. Another scholar reported that they had some issues with electricity or phone battery, as well as computer, laptop not being available. We understand all these challenges, very concrete challenges you're facing wherever you are. And we are very impressed. And in fact, we will learn very soon the incredible results that you all have achieved during the past 2 weeks. So I encourage you to join the experience sharing sessions, the technical support sessions. If you do have technical issues and problems, join Charlotte, get help from your peers as well as the rest of the team. Before we officially start, I do want to announce one important event, which will be happening on May the 2nd. It's a global event for immunization, World Immunization Week. And in this event, you will be invited. You will have the front seat, in fact, in this event, to share what you have been able to do in this IA 2030 movement. And together with others who may not be, right now members of the movement, and to let them know what you have been able to do, what you are doing, and to celebrate how vaccination connects us all to the people, the goals, the moments that matter to us most. So immediately following the event of that global event, we will be kicking off our first IA 2030 Action Plan Hackathon. So this is a 2-week hackathon. Some of you may know the concept hackathon, but it's regardless of the concept, it's really about problem solving together. All of us coming together, sharing our challenges, sharing the solutions each of us have tried in our own context, so that we can all come together to problem solve and brainstorm and pick each other's brains to improve immunization in our own context. So I want to invite you to continue to talk to your colleagues if you have not done so, to share the link to join the movement, especially those colleagues that you trust, whose support is essential for you to tackle your challenge. So I just shared the link in the chat. This is the same link you used to apply to join the movement, and I encourage you to do the same. So share that link as widely as possible with trusted colleagues and people that are involved in immunization where you work. So at this point, I do want to pause a little bit, and I want to hear and invite some of you. I'm lowering all hands right now. I want to invite you to share your responses to 3 simple questions. First, how are you doing in the movement? Second, how are you organizing your time this week to finish your 3 peer reviews by Friday? And third, have you talked to your colleagues about joining the movement on May the 2nd? So I'm now looking at hands raised. If you would like to share with us how you're doing, whether you have you're doing well or you need support, let us know by clicking on the raise hand button, and I would love to come to you and invite you to speak, and especially invite you to share your plan for this week, how you plan to complete the one goal for this week, which is the 3 peer reviews. In the meantime, as I wait for any hands raised, I want to say hello to Martina Ezema. Hello to Ento Belle, who just joined us. Good to have you. Hello to Muhozi Norbert, connecting from Uganda. Good to have you, Norbert. Dr. Akmal, and as well as Asli Hassan, connecting from Ethiopia. Abdallah Abdul Basit, connecting from Ghana. So I do see Olivia Norley's hand is raised. Olivia, are you able to unmute yourself and introduce yourself and answer the 3 questions you see on the screen? Olivia, if you are able to hear me and if you are able to speak, we'd love to hear from you. It seems Olivia may be having some connectivity issues. Next, I want to go to Gold David Suberu. David Suberu, if you could unmute your microphone, we'd love to hear how you're doing in the movement. Of course, first of all, don't forget to introduce yourself, who you are and where you connect from. David?
Hello, good evening to all my colleagues. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. David, please go ahead. If you could introduce yourself and share with us your answers to the questions you see on the screen. Okay. That would be great.
I'm Gold David Suberu. I'm calling from Nigeria. On how I'm doing in the movement. Well, it's quite interesting, and although it's tasking, but I've actually made out time, and I have been following up with the movement, and my assignments, I've been doing them on time. I've submitted my situation analysis, but presently I have not started the the review, the peer review. I will definitely start by today's evening, and before Friday, I should be through and send in mine. How the organization, how I'm making out time for the organization. Okay, just like I've said earlier, just because I decided to do it, I somehow have made out time for it. About talking to some of other colleagues to join the movement. Doing that, and when we start again, about 3 of my colleagues will be joining. They have shared how the movement has been, and they are so interested, and they would want to share it, they would want to join.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Gold David Subaru, for sharing with this Connect in Nigeria. Gold David Subaru, during today's assembly, we will be walking through some very important information regarding peer review. And I'm also, I believe I'm saying this on behalf of the rest of the scholars in the room, that your other 3 colleagues will be joining us as well on May the 2nd in the movement, so that we can all learn and work together to solve our own challenges. So thank you, Gold David Subaru. Next, I want to go to Professor Becky Tagabo. Sir Tagabo, if you could unmute yourself. I see you already just did that. Introduce yourself and answer the 3 questions on the screen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, great. I'm happy to be here. My name is Becky Tabo. I'm a professor of pediatrics and an immunization expert. I work at the University of Nigeria, but I also am the chair of the WHO African Regional Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety. I'm also a member of the Global Advisory Subcommittee on NOPV and so on. So I've been enjoying the assembly and the learning, and I'm very busy. My schedule is pretty tight, but I manage to plan my days and make sure what I do is that I give these assignments priority. So as soon as the peer grade review was opened, my weekend was pretty busy, but I decided that today, Monday, that will be one of the first things I'll do. So I've given a number of hours to do the review. So I have actually finished the 3 reviews, very interesting. I also learned the reviews and I have submitted. I have also spoken to my colleagues. Some of them have actually joined this movement. Thank you, and over.
Thanks a lot, Becky, for sharing with us your plan. And that does sound like a good plan. I do see a question coming up from Simon Boaki in the Q&A section. Good evening, Ja. I wanted to ask, in case you were able to do peer review for the 3 colleagues, but someone failed to review your work. What will happen to you? Thank you. That is an excellent question, Simon. In fact, peer review matters a lot. Without the solidarity, without the honoring the commitment, the important responsibility we're entrusting to each other, that is why it's important that we all complete the 3 reviews that have been assigned to us in peer grade. It could happen if a colleague fails to review your work that you end up with no feedback, and you will not be able to finish the exercise because of that. So that's why each and every one of us has important responsibility in our shoulder to finish those reviews and to honor that commitment we have towards each other. I hope that answers your question, Simon. And I want to also greet those of you who are just joining us in the room. Hello to Hawa Buhari, connecting from Nigeria. Hello to Olere Linda, connecting from Nigeria as well. and also Martin Mayen, who said that I am doing fine and balancing routine and the IA 2030 movement smoothly. We had the EPI review meeting last week and reminded about the May 2nd launch of the hackathon, and everyone from national level states, both the government, UN, and NGOs. I have already started the peer review since Saturday and done with one review. That is amazing. Thanks a lot for sharing with us, Martin. When the time comes, we do want to invite you to share one of the reviews that you have been able to do, so that we can all learn from what you have been able to do and also get some feedback to improve how you're doing it. So we do have a packed agenda today. I do want to point you to the active group, country group meetings that is taking place in for three country groups: Cameroon, Nigeria, and Ghana. So if you are a scholar from one of these three countries, you're welcome to join your country group meeting, and you will be able to get this slide, including the links to join after today's assembly. So if we come back a little bit and look at what is the schedule, we are in week 3 of situation analysis. So for the past 2 weeks, you have been focusing on writing and finishing your situation analysis. This week is really about giving feedback to each other, and the deadline is April the 8th. And of course, remember that you're not doing this for the sake of just, doing it. The goal is really to help you. Flashing red, reminding you, completing the 3 peer reviews is your one goal. You are constantly sharing how you're doing through this simple form. How are you doing? And we are seeing that across the board, your participation in the movement have been useful to you in many different aspects. We can see that from the light blue bar to the green bar, everything is going up. And if we look at the past 4 weeks, in fact, since we started the movement, you can see everything is going up as well. This means the graphs actually means that you're feeling more motivated. Participation in the movement have been increasingly helpful to you, and is changing how you're viewing and how you're tackling your challenges where you work. I do want to pause here and want to say we do have 341 scholars from 46 countries, so the Anglophone countries, who successfully submitted your situation analysis in peer grade before Monday today. And you can see a breakdown of this 341 scholars by country. So you can check out who else are in your country who have done a situation analysis as well. So we will share the slides after the assembly. You will get to see all the names. And if you are the only person from your country who have submitted the situation analysis, that means that you actually have a very important responsibility. You may be working at national level, the regional level, district, or health facility level, whatever level it is important that you use what you're doing in the situation analysis to improve the chances of tackling your challenge in your work. So I'm going through the slides very quickly. The slides will be shared later. If you do not see your name in this slides later on, make sure that you submit your situation analysis in peer grade as soon as possible. And I do want to honor all these 341 scholars. Bravo for having completed your situation analysis. That is the first step towards tackling them. So what happens now this week? Right now, some of the scholars have already shared, you have already started the peer reviews, some already finished 3, some already finished 2 or 1. Each and every one of us should be able to find 3 situation analysis, and this is in peer grade. So you do not need to contact any peers or any colleagues, and you will not receive any email about the contact details of 3 peers. No, everything happens in peer grade, and you need to log back into peer grade in order to do this. And why does peer review matter? Because your colleagues will not be able to complete the exercise without your help. We depend on each other. That's why the solidarity and the mutual commitment is important. We have 41 scholars who already completed the 3 peer reviews, and these are your names. And I want to say a huge bravo to you, with a small reminder, which is that peer review, the quality of your feedback is important. So sloppy peer reviews will be rejected. And please take the time to read and go through your peers' work before you start giving peer review. With that said, I want to pause here, and I'm lowering all hands. And I want to invite you again, if you would like to present a peer review that you have done in peer grade, I want to invite you to click on the raise hand button, and we will invite you to join the panelist so that you can share your screen. I see previously, I do see that Jafar Sarni. Hello, Jafar. Are you able to share with us a peer review that you have completed in peer grade?
Hello. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
That's good. Unfortunately, I was unable to share my screen now because I'm using my Android phone right now to attend the meeting.
That's okay,
but I have
in fact, as an admin, as part of the team, I am able to share for you. In fact, if you just let me know which peers work, let me share a different screen. So I'm, as an admin, I'm sharing the 3 peers work you have reviewed. So there are 3. Which one would you like to present?
Okay, I would like to present the second one.
The second one. Okay, so
yes,
here
yes.
is the second one. So if you could, first of all, briefly summarize the author's situation analysis, and then explain how you completed your peer review, especially what comments you gave and how you think that those comments help the author, that would be great. The floor is yours,
Okay.
Jafar.
Okay. Actually, the reason why I decided to talk firstly on this this work is that the author of the situational analysis, I don't know whether he did not even read the rubric and also even downloaded the right template, because right from seeing the template is not the template that he's supposed to work on. This template is for WHO Scholar Certification for Immunization Agenda 2013, the recently completed coursework that we have did before, which is not the correct template to be downloaded and do his situational analysis. That is why there is nothing even to say about the template regarding the kind of template he downloaded and do his work. So that is why I choose to speak on this one, and even to call the author attention and other peers' attention that we should always follow the guidelines, rules and regulation concerning any action we are trying to do, and read line by line to see that we have do the right thing at the right time.
Thanks a lot, Jafar, for sharing that. Indeed, you are correct. For flagging the issue of using the wrong template for this peer's work. So this peer does need to find the right template. So perhaps in your comments, if you could share a link back to the template, the right template, that would be useful to the author. Thank you a lot, Jafar, for sharing that. I do see many other hands raised who would like to share. I want to go to Becky. Becky, you have your hands raised. If you would like to share a peer review with the rest of us, that would be great. If you could, yeah. Unmute your microphone.
Thank you very much, but I would also prefer that you share the screen for me.
Sure, let me just get it out. Do you know which peer's work you would like to present? I'm just sharing.
Yeah,
ready.
The first one.
The first one, okay. Right. Okay, Becky, we are here in peer grade for first peer's work. If you could summarize what the author's situation analysis is, and then explain what comments you gave, what ratings you gave, and walk us through that. That would be very helpful. Over to you, Becky.
Thank you very much. It's just a summary of the situation. The main plan here was to improve second dose measles, rubella coverage. If you can scroll up a little. Yeah, and looking at the cover letter, just like in almost all the reviews I did, it seems to me that many of us did not understand what the cover letter is all about. If you look at this now, you will notice preparation of questionnaire for health worker, providers, and care, and preparation of MR register for children. Of course, this is not a letter. So when I go to my comments, you're going to see how I try to help so that they will know what they are supposed to do here. Can you scroll up? But I want to commend what's, the challenge here, which is to improve the second dose coverage. This author rightly noted, you can go to the situation analysis, that scroll down here, rightly gave a background. Yeah, it's okay. Gave a good background of what doses had been administered for the first dose and the percentage coverage, and then came to the second dose and noted the drop, from the data that was available. That was government source of data, although it did not give us the percentage of that drop so that we can compare. That was part of my comment, but rightly puts the background to show that there is really a drop in second dose. And so it was good to find out why. Why do we have this drop? So that he can tackle it, and then the drop, the second dose can rise. You can go on to the next, that's data source. Again, you can see that he said the data source is the vaccine and immunization management system. And again, this is a good source, all right, but we're supposed to have at least 2 sources. So that was a good source, but we needed one more source. I will comment on this when we go down. If you look at the key findings, all health facilities have high dropout rates. That is a key finding. What are the opinion of healthcare workers? So you notice that the key findings here are like questions. So even though this is a very good work, it was a very good challenge, but didn't seem to grasp what we are looking for in the key findings, which is supposed to be what you have found out based on your investigation from your various sources to address your question. And then we go to the next steps. In the next steps, the author rightly outlined, the author went on to say, identify health facilities with high MR dropout, prepare questionnaire, with which to, find out more details and more information, and prepare a register. Very innovative ideas in terms of next steps. Yeah, just some adjustment to that, but I really commend the next steps. Let's go to the references. Part 6, yeah. So the author also identified 2 references from the ideas engine, which is the minimum we are expected to do. And if you look at the topic, reaching every ward and every child and improving measles rubella coverage, you can see that these ideas are really relevant to this challenge. So let me quickly go through if you can show us my review, or you want me to just comment?
Yes, Becky, if you could walk us through how you did. So you just gave a brief summary of this author's situation analysis. And now if you could walk us on the right-hand side, how you did your peer review.
Okay.
And exactly how your comments are going to help the author, that would be helpful.
Yes, thank you. I believe that my comments, in addition to 2 other reviewers, is going to really improve this situation analysis and beef up the quality, even though originally it's a high quality situation analysis, I must say. So starting from the beginning, you can see that I said there was, I said, no summary. I don't know how 4 was clicked. Maybe that was an error. It should be, yeah. Or is it that it was clicked or something? Because I said no summary. That's number 1. That's the 0 up there. Yeah, that's what it should be. So no summary, just 2 phrases like we saw there in terms of cover letter. And I said, please try to write a letter to your boss with the summary of your key challenge, your findings, and your actions that you propose to take. This will enable your boss to see how he or she can support you. It should be concise, comprehensive at the same time. So this will help the person because the author just itemized 2 things as we saw over there. So that was really not a summary at all. So I now told him what to do. If he follows this, he'll be able to come out with a beautiful cover letter, because the challenge is really a very important one. So on the step two, you properly set the background. So I commended the background, if you remember, and identify the problem. And you explained how addressing your question would also address the challenge. This is excellent. Now, this will motivate this author. Please make the following adjustments. Include percentage in the following statement you made. That was what I had talked about. He did not give us the percentage of the drop, so we could compare it to the measles, the first dose. We can compare it to the second dose. He just gave us the number. So if he includes the percentage here, that will help us. Let's go to the next comment. Can you scroll up?
Yes, we're now in data sources.
Okay, so in data sources, I said only one data source. So I said you need at least 2 data sources. But so far, I saw one data source, that is the VIMS. This source is good to inform you on coverage or rates because it's talking of second dose. However, you need a qualitative data source, that is in addition, to find out the reasons for the dropout, because that was the challenge. Why this rate? So when you use this initial data source to find the coverage, the next question is why? So that is more of a qualitative. And I gave him an idea. I said, this you could find if you Google reasons for measles dropouts, or you could search the same phrase on the ideas engine, or you could interview some health workers in the field or in your facility and interact with your members. You need to do a comparison of your data source and also discuss the limitations of those sources. By the time he does all this, the quality will certainly improve. Can we go to the next one? Yeah. So in terms of findings, didn't really state the findings. Here you need to present the findings from your investigation or data sources. And these findings should at least attempt to answer your question. So what did you find from the VIMS, for instance? What you presented here are additional questions that will help you address your challenge. These questions are good, but what have you found out in the interim? So he just gave us additional questions that he's still attempting to answer his question without telling us the key findings he has been able to extract from the data sources. Next one.
Next step.
So, yeah, next steps. I said he has compelling next steps that seem actionable in the author's context, but this require minor improvements. So he did well when it comes to next step, and I congratulated the author. It was a great job. Minor adjustments, for instance, explain from which data source you intend to identify the health facilities with the highest MR dropout. In preparing, he said he will prepare a register that they will use to track, mothers as they come for their first dose, so that they will see if they can get their second dose. So you need to think of the feasibility. Who is going to, fund this project? Because this is a whole district, and you're going to have this maybe a form that will be used on each child. So you need to think of the logistics. So I gave him an idea for him to look at how to make it. Okay, so in terms of data source, I said the ideas engine reference are excellent and relevant. However, you need to improve other sources as already indicated in the data section, because I had said that he needed an additional data source up there in probably better to be a qualitative source, so he can, tackle the idea of why the dropout rate. Next.
I believe that's all.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's the references.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Becky, for walking us through very clearly this peers work you reviewed and how you gave your peer review. I just want to follow up with one more question before I turn to your peers in the room, your colleagues in the room, whether they have any feedback for how you did your peer review, and as well as François Gaz, who is also with us in the room. And I see that Charlotte is in fact back from the meeting. So after that, we will be able to go and invite Charlotte and perhaps Rita to speak a little bit about the important meeting they just finished. But Becky, my follow-up question is, what are you learning from doing this peer review that you just shared for your own work? That is, for how you will improve your own situation analysis. Can you share that?
Yeah, just like I said, in the course of this peer review, I have actually learned a lot. And one major thing I learned from this paper was innovation. Innovation. I'm highly impressed that he had this innovative thinking of developing a form that will help to track mothers and their children who take the first dose, so that, and he even gave the details of what the form may look like. This is, for me, this is very innovative and could actually be applied to other antigens and not just the second dose of measles rubella. Very innovative, and I really recommend it to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Becky. If you have all carefully listened to the peer review Becky just shared, if you have comments, I invite you to share either in the chat or click on the raise hand button, and we'll come to you. In the meantime, I want to turn to François Gaz, who is with us. François, you've heard what Becky did for this peer's work. What comments or feedback do you have for Becky to improve her feedback?
I think Professor Becky addressed most of the issues that are needed for the feedback. My reading in the feedback, if I was one doing the peer review, would be to try. I think the challenge is very clear, and I think the strategic or the challenge itself is understanding the cause of the dropout. Now, this is a great action after having seen that there is a 13% dropout between the first and second dose. That's very specific. Now, when you look at, to be more specific, I was expecting to know exactly which area were affected most by the dropout. Of course, if this either it's readily available or it's not. If the data are not available readily, it becomes an action to understand where this particular problem most prevalent in the council that they're talking about. When I see 119% and a bit lower and lower, 13% lower second dose, I imagine these things, is this council an urban area? Because those figures are classic in urban area. And are all the women doing, making their first dose and the second dose in the same health center or not? It's a district. So if it's an urban area, it's complex. And I think what's correct is the question, and I would congratulate for the question, why and where and why do we have the dropout? That will be good. And I think that's the next action, because today, the situation as this has not answered those critical questions that are very well located. We need to understand, and there will be the development of a questionnaire targeting. Maybe one thing would have been interesting is what's missing is maybe, is the mother an important part or not? So it's very good to look in the detail and to develop some questionnaire and execute them to get the answer to his main question. And this in itself is a very good start, an excellent start. Now, for the solution at the end, the idea at the end, I think until you have the idea at the end, I am always afraid of the presumptions that we think that one system, one action would work when you don't have all the analysis that are needed. So I think I would commend him to, maybe there is one part where he lists the things he's going to do, where in fact these are action, but without the findings. The findings will come after the action have been executed. And obviously, in the last 2 weeks, was not possible to get those information. The rest, I think Professor Becky covered it. And the absence of a summary, because the summary at this point in time could be a different one to your boss. To boss is to show the figures and to say, well, to find out, we need to do X, Y, Z action. And until we've done those actions, we cannot really respond to the problem and the situation analysis until we don't know the cause. So that's how I feel it could be summarized. Then if the questionnaire are not, and then to do that, his action is to prepare and execute the questionnaire listed. Then the findings will add in to make a plan of action in the near future. So that would be my complementary remark to the great remark of Professor Becky to address with my comment and being very congratulating, saying, yeah, where the health facility will drop out, what opinion of healthcare providers and caregivers, our children tracked well in health facilities. Those are very good, as the Professor Becky is very set the background to complement your situation analysis, which today at the beginning when you start, is not complete. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Francois, for sharing those comments to Becky. And Becky, do check out the messages in the chat. Diana Awuti said to you, great idea and good review. Can even be shared to forum to help develop for me. And Jeffrey, connecting from Ethiopia, Hajara Suleiman, who said, well done, Becky. Thanks again, Becky, for sharing and walking us through that peer review you did. At the beginning of the assembly, thank you, Becky. At the beginning of the assembly, I did explain why Rita and Charlotte were not here to facilitate today. And I think both of them are now back with us. And so I want to turn to Rita and Charlotte, either one or both of you, to share with us, how did the meeting go and what messages do you have for the members of the movement? Rita?
It seems as if Rita is not in the panel. So let's just.
Right. Okay. So let me just. Okay.
Thanks. Okay, that's better. Now it says that the host has disabled video, but that's okay. All right. So first of all, greetings and thank you, Ja, and I hope it sounds like you've been having a great session. I actually miss. So I actually miss the assembly. Even though, of course, what we were doing was quite important. So I'd like to really commend Charlotte and Annika, Daniel, and Boma, who represented the movement for Immunization Agenda 2030. You really spoke from the heart and really tried to explain. So these are deputy executive directors, deputy director generals, regional directors from UNICEF, WHO, Gavi, BMGF, the World Bank, the American CDC and National Institutes of Health, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, Gavi, CSO, European Union, African Union. They were all actually there. So some of the most senior officials working in immunization or whose agencies are involved in immunization. The most significant response came from Oren Levine from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who said, well, it sounds like you've been making smart sparks. What do you need to make a fire? So I'd like to invite every member of the movement who's here, there's several hundred of people here today, to think about how you would answer that question. So you have been connecting, you've been doing your situation analysis, you've been making progress, and you've been making sparks, what would it take for you to make a fire? So that's my reflection. Would love to hear from Charlotte as well. I think it's she presented on behalf of TGLF and also on behalf of the movement. Would be great to hear from her. Thanks.
Thank you, Reda. Charlotte?
Thank you, Za, and also the opportunity to be able to speak on behalf of the movement. And like when I talked about a spark, or Levin talked about a spark, but we actually thought we already have a fire, and that fire, you are the flames that are making that fire, because you connect every day virtually to talk about what you're doing, the changes you're making, despite the challenges that you're facing in immunization. And Oneka, Boma, Daniel, and I were just there to serve. If it were possible to gather all 6,000 of us in this movement into that meeting, we would have done so. But we were just there like to try to, put a voice to all of you, to what the difference that you're making on the field, so that those who are at the global level, decision-making level, they'll be able to see that you are engaged in the movement for immunization agenda, and that you are carrying it forward in your own way, in your little way, whether you're at the health facility level, whether you're a community health worker, whether you're at the district level, at the regional, national, or regional, wherever you are, subnational level, that you are doing something. You have taken the engagement to share your ideas with peers from all over the world, and not just remain at the level of ideas, but translate those ideas into action for impact, so that at the end of the decade, we'll be saying this is the difference that immunization has made, thanks to you, thanks to all of us who are gathered here today. So to me, it was just a wonderful opportunity. And it's like, they say little drops of water make an ocean. So we think that each opportunity like this one, we are adding more water to what we are doing. And we really do hope that we are going to flow out, and gather up all those involved in immunization from the top right down to the field, so that it will really be that movement, as we call it, because, there is no movement without motion. Thanks a lot. And sorry for taking too much time.
That is time well deserved. Well said, Charlotte. And thank you both for sharing the update from that important meeting with all of us in the movement. I am aware of the time, so we have many hands raised. However, I want to encourage you to join the experience sharing session with Charlotte and Francois tomorrow, as well as the technical support session, particularly to Ahmed Neema, who originally I invited you to join the panel to share your peer review. If you could join the experience sharing tomorrow, session tomorrow, and share how you did your peer review, and support those peers who may need a hand in completing their peer review, that would be great. And continuing what Charlotte and Reda was saying, concretely, we are seeing some remarkable testimonials that you have been sharing with us. One scholar said, situation analysis has been my favorite session. Little did I know that the solution to long-term challenge is not far-fetched, if not for situation analysis. How would I have known? Another scholar said, I gained more knowledge on how to conduct situation analysis. Another scholar said, I have gained self-confidence just by interacting and sharing ideas with other professionals. I've started working on my own challenges through situation analysis, something that I could not do before. And etc., etc. There are many really impressive testimonials you have shared. We will share the slides later with you. However, I do want to bring us back to the practical, which is to finish and really concentrate on the 3 peer reviews that you need to complete before Friday. There are many resources out there to help you. So here, what I'm sharing on the screen is a concrete example. So Reda, in his video tutorial, walked through a peer review that was already submitted, and perhaps by looking at this tutorial, you will know what to avoid, how you can improve your peer review. I won't go through this, but you can review them carefully once you have the slides. The quality of your peer review does matter. And I just want to share this 2 quotes which demonstrate perfectly why you have a responsibility. We all have this commitment towards each other. So these 2 quotes were shared by our scholar alumni from previous programs. One scholar said, "The feedback I received left me confused. I have the impression that the peer who they didn't even read my work." And the other scholar said, "I got very insightful feedback that helped me tremendously to improve my work. Thank you for taking the time to review my work." I think it's doesn't need more explanation on why your feedback, the quality of it is important. And also reflect what you're learning as you're giving feedback. How can you improve your own situation analysis through what lessons you're learning in this process? And we did share lots of tips and guidance for you on how to do a good peer review. For example, there is almost a checklist of 5 questions that you can ask yourself as you do peer review. And all of this can be found in your personal learning dashboard. And I just shared the link in the chat. Of course, the step-by-step guidance, you can always go back to it if anything that you're not clear about what you need to do as a reviewer. The 3 tips and tools guidance notes, you can see if you are reviewing someone's work on 0 dose, this is the thing that you can point them to so that they have more help. The same applies to demand for vaccination as well as for COVID-19 vaccination. There are specific guidance provided in this document in case you have not used them yourself or you have not shared the link to the peers. Another resource is the Ideas Engine. And at this point, I'd like to invite my colleague Ian Steed, who is in the room with me as well, who is the mastermind behind the Ideas Engine. So Ian, would you be able to share with us why at this stage scholars are working in giving each other feedback? Why is accessing the Ideas Engine important? How can it help someone who is giving feedback?
Thank you, Jia, and good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everyone. So as Jia's perhaps just about to show you, people are still accessing the Ideas Engine. They're still sharing ideas, and they are still leaving comments and responding to comments. And this is part of the ongoing dialogue that we are trying to support here. So as people are developing ideas, as people are reading other people's situation analyses and responding to them, that they have something to reference, that there are ideas, that there are practices to refer to. So this is all, think of this as an ongoing discussion that's taking place, and the Ideas Engine is one of the places that you can be part of that discussion.
Thank you very much, Ian, for that update. So as you can see, there are increasingly more ideas, and one concrete way is you can, in your peer review, in peer grid, you can share the link to a relevant idea or practice from the Ideas Engine to the peer, to the author whose work you're reviewing. So that is one concrete way how the Ideas Engine can be helpful. I am not going to share more on the incredible stories that you are sharing through the How Are You Doing forum. I encourage you to read and review these stories. once our assembly is over, there are some gold nuggets in it. And I do want to invite Charlotte and perhaps Francois to perhaps share a summary. Last week, you facilitated 2, or in fact, for both English and French, 4 experience sharing sessions. How did it go? What are the highlights that you would like to say to those who haven't joined a experience sharing session with you, and to
Charlotte, ladies first.
Okay, I was about to say Francois. So I'm going to start. I just want to actually invite those who are here to join us tomorrow for the experience sharing session tomorrow at 5 p.m. Geneva time. Come, let's talk about the experience you're going through. But this week, since it's all about peer review, that's going to be our focus. And then I'll hand over to Francois for the highlights from last week's experience sharing session. Thanks,
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte. I would say that the last week's session, I had very few big highlights, in terms of the challenge to overcome, and in terms of the way the challenge were designed, responding to the guide that you received and you had to fill. I would say some did an excellent, in my mind, one example by Nigeria that was very well written and answering the various questions. Now, and others have also done very well. I would say the only weakness we need to correct, and maybe the peer review will be a good way, is when the challenge was not specific enough. The challenge was not positioned in the many challenges you face in your own area of responsibility. And sometimes it was not quantified in terms of the weight of the challenge or numbers. When you have high dropout, you need to see what is this dropout. Then what is the level of dropout? Is it 20? Is it 30%? This is an important, because if you need support from your bosses, you need to show the size of the problem, and you need to measure it. And having a good data will help you to monitor over time how well you're doing to overcome your challenge, even if you address part of the cause, but not all the cause. And I think where was something missing sometimes is where was located the challenge? Was it all your area of responsibility, or focusing on certain area of your responsibility? That was an important thing. And then there was the cause. People went into the cause, and sometimes you have generic cause, you have a list, and it's important to identify among the many causes which one is the most important, which one carries the most weight toward. And this should be very specifically written. Now, to do that, there was one issue we learned last week, in that people sometimes needed to do some concrete action, like we have learned today, to get the findings, the why of the challenge. And this is normal. You don't have all the information available immediately, and you may design some questionnaire for key informant interviews. You may go and visit some area, talk to religious leader, before you can decide what will be the best corrective measure to address part of your challenge or most of your challenge. So it's important, it's totally acceptable that in your situation analysis, the conclusion is those are the 3 or 4 actions, which is collecting data, and with the findings, being able to decide what will be the most appropriate corrective measure. So make sure that when you peer review, you really highlight, you look at the things, and you suggest what are the kind of information actions that may be needed in order that the scholar does better in presenting the situation analysis and what next. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Francois, for those tips and guidance. And I want to say to those of you, we are over time for 5 minutes. Thank you for staying over time, beyond the original scheduled time, to support your peers and to share your experiences. I do want to wrap up today's assembly by sharing with you what will happen after Friday. So Friday is the deadline for you to complete the 3 peer reviews, but what will happen after that? As you can see on the screen, everything you will be able to get by looking at the green button, the submit reaction button. So in peer grade, after Friday midnight, you'll be able to react and see the comments and feedback you have received for your own situation analysis. And that is, as always, in peer grade. And so concretely, you need to react to those feedback, revise your situation analysis using this feedback, and finally submit your final and improved version of your situation analysis by Friday, April 15th. So those are the next steps after Friday. I do want to answer a couple questions in the Q&A section. So one from Samuel, who said, I haven't picked up the situation analysis assignment as discussed on the platform. The question is, where do I start from activity number 1, leading to all this presentation and discussion? What are the modality and approaching the work? And Tukur Abdul Azhar have a similar question. I am joining for the first time. How can I start? So first of all, I want to say welcome to the movement, Samuel and Tukur. It's great to have you join us. If you would like to participate in this exercise and you have the time that you can dedicate really in the next 2 weeks, I would encourage you to in fact, write out your situation analysis as soon as you can, and then be able to participate in peer review. I will be sharing a link in the chat. This is the learning dashboard that you need to go to. This is includes everything you need in order to continue and or start, in your case, the work about situation analysis as well as peer review. So I want to end with this flashing red screen, reminding you this is our one goal this week. And I want to turn to Reda, perhaps. What will be your message as scholars are working on their peer review this week before we wrap up this session? Reda?
Thanks, Sha. Yeah, so really what I had in mind is if you check your inbox right now, and I know there's so many emails, you'll see there's one asking you with your name on it saying, IA 2030, are you still active on April 4th? This is how we know whether you are active or whether you are just, you don't want to be involved in the activities going forward. So it's okay, you can still stay a member of the movement. And just to say, the next 2 weeks, I'm sure Ja has said this, the next 2 weeks, we're really going to be focusing on people who submitted their situation analysis, and we'll be working through the final 2 stages of peer review and then revision. But for everyone else, you should focus, the next time we really come together as a movement is on the 2nd of May. So that'll be for World Immunization Week. And so I need you to do 2 things. One is confirm that you're still active on April 4th. Look in your inbox. There's an email. There's a green button. Yes, I am active in the movement. There's a red button if you want to avoid removal because you were absent. But that's not you because you're here. But if you're watching the recording, that could be your case. There's a link to the learning dashboard if you are participating in situation analysis. And again, if you're not participating in situation analysis, the next meeting for you, you're welcome to join the assembly every week. It's such a great way to share experience. You're welcome to share the experience sessions, but really the next global event where everyone in the movement will be coming together will be on the 2nd of May for World Immunization Week. And just very impressed by those of you who made it, who are to situation analysis this far, just to say this is a 4-week marathon. Don't give up just because, or don't, you need to hang in there now that you have submitted situation analysis. Do justice to by peer reviewing the work submitted by your colleagues, and make sure you revise in the final week. You'll see we'll be asking you to revise your work. So I probably repeated many of the things I has already said, but thank you, and really impressed with the way this group is going, and can't wait. I'm actually sorry I missed today's assembly, and wish to thank Ja for taking over facilitation duties today.
Thanks a lot, Rita. With that said, I do want to wrap up the session as we are going 11 minutes over time. I want to wish everyone a great week of peer reviewing, reading peers' work, and learning from this process, as well as taking lessons learned for your own improvement of situation analysis. So I want to wish everyone a good evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. And I'm trying to ask everyone to unmute if that's possible. And just want to congratulate all of you, as Rita said, for making it this far. The marathon is halfway. And so we are in this together. And I want to wish you all